What's going on, guys? Welcome to another Doctor Who series ranking video. Today I'm going to be ranking all of series 11's episodes. So I've done this for series 1 to 10, and now that we've had series 11 and I've now had the chance to watch all of series 11 back, so I've watched all 10 episodes twice each. Now I thought it was the decent time. You know, I've now got used to the series a bit. It's time to do a ranking of all 10 episodes. This is going to be kind of a top 10, but it's also a ranking. Resolution, the New Year special, will not be a part of this list. It's just the 10 episodes in the series itself. So let's get started. Number 10. The TSURANGA Conundrum. It's probably not a big surprise to most people that the TSURANGA Conundrum comes at last place on my list. There are a couple of good things about this episode. I mean, I thought it started pretty interestingly. You know, having the TARDIS team on the hospital ship injured and confused. I really liked the moments where, you know, the Doctor was walking around and Astos, you know, was telling her, you know, you can't be doing this, you're injured, just rest. And I really like those moments. And Yaz kicking the Bating, I also thought was quite amusing, although a little bit stupid. However, pretty much everything else about this episode is bad. I mean, why does Astos go into the pod first of all? What the hell was that about? Astos shows barely any emotion as his pod gets shot into space. I thought the actor playing Astos was really bland and just such a boring and bad actor. Such a dry actor, I'd say. The Bating looks really crap and it's too cute to be this really dangerous villain it's supposed to be. The pregnant man is just there for filler in a filler episode. Ryan and Yaz having a calm emotional moment in all of this just doesn't work. The Doctor explaining way too much, and then just a really slow and boring episode altogether. Number 9. The Ghost Monument. Alright, another one that I don't really like. I mean, I don't hate this one anywhere near as much as I hated the TSURANGA Conundrum. I just say that I don't like this one. A couple of good things though. I think once again this one started really well. I thought this was one of the best starts of the series. Such an action-packed thing. You know, we're wondering where the where our characters were going to be with the cliffhanger at the end of the first episode, and then just the great direction and camera work and all that with all, you know, the ship crashing and stuff. I thought that was really good. Also, Angstrom and Epso are pretty fleshed out characters, which is something that I did appreciate. I kind of felt for them a little bit in some ways, and some of the best visuals in the series were in this episode. However, there was too much dialogue and talking in the middle, way too much. It was ridiculous how slow this one was in the middle. It dragged out so much. Really bad dialogue moments. For example, Ryan's Call of Duty moment I didn't like at all. The Doctor explaining everything once again, it just happens way too much. She explains way too much stuff. Uninteresting villains, you know, the remnants and the sniper bots I didn't find to be particularly interesting, and then the sniper bots appear but then are now inactive. You know, that moment where they appear but they kind of come out of nowhere but then they're not actually active. Yeah, a lot of stuff I didn't like about this one. Number 8. Arachnids in the UK. Yes, I'm going to be honest, I did overdo this one way too much. I said it was way too good in my initial review of it. I think it was just because it was the more interesting and well-paced episode thus far in the series. But, you know, looking back on it now, it has a lot of issues. However, let's start off with some good things. First of all, Graham's hallucinations of Grace I thought were really good. The people wrapped up in cobwebs I thought was really creepy. The spiders are pretty creepy themselves. I think that they are anyway. And very well, you know, visual effects. Lowering the spiders into the panic room I thought was a pretty interesting little thing. And also one of the more exciting and better paced episodes, like I said before. However, there are some big issues. Firstly, it's too convenient meeting Jade the arachnologist. Way too convenient. Just happens out of nowhere. Robertson is basically Donald Trump, which I don't like at all, I will be honest. The music used to lure the spiders into the panic room, it just doesn't feel like Doctor Who at all. The Doctor not agreeing with shooting the suffocating spider doesn't make sense with the Doctor. She doesn't like guns, but I mean, this spider is suffocating. Just kill it, put it out of its misery, and then surely there are still spiders on the loose. Yeah, the way they wrap this up just didn't really work. Number 7. The Witchfinders. So this is an episode that I don't hate, but I also don't really like. I mean, it's kind of, I've given it a 6.5 out of 10. It actually keeps the same rating as when I reviewed it. I didn't like it anymore, I didn't hate it anymore. But basically, to start off with some of the good things, the mud zombies I think are pretty interesting. They look pretty cool. The Doctor accused of being a witch, I thought that was a really cool thing. You know, I didn't want this series to be plugging on that the Doctor's a woman all the time, but this works in this scenario. It makes sense, and I think it works really well. I'm glad they took that opportunity. The Doctor talking with King James, you know, I thought that was a really cool moment, and I think Jodie Whittaker had some of her best moments, you know, when she was tied up and talking to King James. I really thought she did a really good job there. However, there are some negatives. Firstly, the Doctor letting Yaz wander off in a time where women are accused of being witches. Why? Why did she just let her wander off? That doesn't make any sense. King James is way too camp and pantomime. I didn't really like him in this. Morax looks and sounds weird. Like I said, the zombies looked okay, but Morax just looked stupid. And then it felt like the ending was very, very rushed. Yeah, it's okay. Number 6. Rosa. Yes, I know, shoot me all you want, Rosa gets 6th place, but I still do like this one, just not as much as a lot of people. So start off with the positives. Krasko doing small things to try and stop Rosa Parks. It's the butterfly effect, and I think that's really well played out in this. It works very well. Does a great job of showing what times were like for coloured people back then. I think it really does a good job of that, a really good job actually. I'm surprised at how well they did that. Ryan shooting Krasko with the teleport gun, I thought that was a really cool scene there for Ryan. And then Graham's emotional moment when he has to stay on the bus is so good. His face, his acting is brilliant. However, for me there are some negatives. It just doesn't really feel like Doctor Who to me. That's my main issue with this. It's a very good episode. It's just not Doctor Who, you know. The Doctor explaining too much, once again, it's a common theme with this series. Krasko's motivations aren't too clear apart from that he's a racist, so you know, I don't just really feel the motivation there. And then the Rise Up song at the end just doesn't work for me, and it kind of undermines that emotional scene with Graham. I mean, it works in a sense, but once again, like that music in Arachnids, it just feels a bit out of place for Doctor Who. Number 5. The Battle of RANSKOOR Av KOLOS. So yeah, it's the series finale, and you know what, once again, this is another one where I think I liked it a bit too much when I first watched it. Now that I've watched it back again, taking some things into consideration, there are issues with it. So first of all, let's start off with the good stuff. Tim Shaw feels much more menacing than in episode 1. I do think that. I think he is just a bit more menacing. Not necessarily better, but I don't know, just the feel of him and the atmosphere you get off him, he feels more menacing to me. Graham wanting to kill Tim Shaw, once again some great stuff there, great acting by Bradley Walsh. There's clear inspiration from Star Wars, but it works well. I actually do think that inspiration does work well. He's clearly Darth Vader, but I mean, it works. Graham and Ryan finally fist bump. I mean, it's a moment we've been waiting for in the whole series, and we finally get it. And the Doctor's short speech about what's out there in the universe, really good speech. However, there are some negatives. Firstly, Chibnall is terrible at names, you know, like the Ux, Paltraki, Umsang, RANSKOOR Av KOLOS, they're just such stupid names. The neurobalances have no real effect when Yaz and the Doctor take them off, which annoyed me. Tim Shaw is defeated by being shot in the foot. I thought that was annoying. Funny for Graham, but annoying. And then it just doesn't feel like a finale. It's not big enough to be a finale. That's really the main issue here. Number 4. Demons of the Punjab. So the rating for this one's gone down a little bit. I originally gave it an 8 out of 10. I've now put it on a 7.5 out of 10 after second viewing, but it's still a good episode getting at number 4. So let's start off with the good stuff. The Thajarians look and sound really cool. I mean, they really do. I quite like these as a villain. They're not really a villain, but we'll get into that. Graham talking to Yaz about how Umbrian isn't her nan yet. I thought that was a really good moment for Graham there, as usual. The Doctor doing scientific experiments brought me back to the John Pertwee 3rd Doctor days, and I thought that was a really cool thing to see. The Doctor getting angry at the Thajarians. This was the first time in the series where Jodie Whittaker felt like she was angry and felt like her performance was, I don't know, she just had a much more interesting performance here, and I liked that. And then also some really, really good music in this one, possibly some of the best in the series. I also quite like the twist that they weren't actually, you know, they were just being respectful to people that were going to die. Some negatives though, some not great acting by some of the Indian, the Indian characters. The Indian cast not putting on Indian accents I thought was a bit silly, and then also nothing would have changed if the Doctor wasn't there. Yeah, kind of overlooked that when I originally watched it. Number 3. The Woman Who Fell to Earth. This one's interesting because unlike Punjab, which went from an 8 to a 7.5, this one's now possibly gone from a 7.5 to an 8. I actually enjoyed this one a little bit more on a rewatch. So first of all, good introduction to the Doctor and all companions. I thought, I really did. I mean, it took a little while for the Doctor to come into it, but I think when she was there was good focus on her, and also good focus on the companions. Well, at least 2 of the companions. Decent pacing throughout. Honestly, I mean, pacing was a big issue for this series, but I honestly think this was actually one of the better paced episodes of them all. Tim Shaw killing people and removing their teeth I thought was really, really scary and creepy, and I thought it worked pretty well. The information electric ball thing looks pretty good. I thought that was a pretty cool looking thing. Grace's death, although a little bit kind of meh, still really emotional, really good. Then the Doctor making her Sonic, although how did she make it? Not really sure how she made it, but I did like the sequence at least. And the fact that, you know, we're not just getting a Sonic from the TARDIS. However, there is some fairly bad dialogue at times, and should have just been 50 minutes, not an hour. Did drag a little bit at times. Number 2. It Takes You Away. Another episode that I actually really did quite enjoy in this series, but had a couple of things that I wasn't a big fan of. So to start off with the positives, a real creepy atmosphere when they're searching the house. I thought that was just a really well shot and atmospheric scene. The mirror being a portal is pretty cool, maybe a little bit of a cliche, but I did quite like it. I thought it was fairly interesting. Ribbons being attacked by the flesh moths I thought was a pretty exciting moment, I suppose. Grace is in this other world, you know, this world. I quite like that. I thought, you know, bringing Grace back again was pretty cool. The Solitrax universe is a really interesting concept. I love the concept of this Solitrax universe, I really do. Graham's emotional moments, not wanting to leave Grace, once again Bradley Walsh with perfect acting. And then Ryan calling Graham Grandad, I mean, that was just an amazing moment we've been waiting for. A couple of negatives though, the part with the Doctor convincing people not to stay in the universe drags a bit. I do think, you know, we get Graham to finally leave, then it's his dad, then it's, you know, that girl's dad, and it does drag on a bit. And also the frog that talks like Grace, I personally don't really like. It's a bit too ridiculous, and also doesn't look great. Number 1. KERBLAM. For me, this is kind of without a doubt definitely my favourite episode of Series 11. So to start with, the 13th Doctor wearing a fez, great callback to Matt Smith. I thought it was funny, I thought it was cool. I always like callbacks to previous Doctors and episodes and stuff, so I really like that. Using the psychic paper, we get to see the psychic paper again. It didn't really get used much throughout Stephen Moffat's whole era with Smith and Capaldi, so seeing that come back again I thought was really cool. The KERBLAM Man robots are creepy, but also oddly charming, you know. I love the moments where it's like, go team, you know, they're like, get working, and they're like really uplifting and charming, but then they're also really creepy. I think they were designed really well. Lee Mack is great. I mean, he's not in it very much, but I think for what he does, he's very good. And I mean, I love Lee Mack, he's very funny. Using KERBLAM 1.0 to find what's happening in the system, I thought that was a really cool little concept there, using older technology. The bubble wrap blowing up when you pop it, I think that's just a really creepy thing, and I think, you know, that initial reveal's done very well. The twist that Charlie is planning to kill people with the robots to make people not trust technology, I also think that's good. You know, he wants to kind of he wants to help people get these jobs because technology's taking over. A couple of bad things though, the conveyor belt scene doesn't look particularly good, and also it maybe ended a little too quickly, but altogether I still really enjoy this one. So there we have it, that's my ranking for all 10 episodes in Series 11. What's your guys' ranking? Please tell me in the comments below. Remember that this was my opinion, but I would love to hear your opinions below. Respect each other's opinions. I can't say it enough. You know, it's opinions. I like to talk about it, but I don't want to get into arguments about it. But anyway, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.